Feelings. This track, I love it. This is actually the oldest track on this album. This track was originally, well, we started this track and the first version of this track was done 5 years ago in Sydney, Australia. And it was done at the same time that I just found out that I had cancer. It was such a busy time because I was writing the song. The song is about me being in the industry and the life that I live and the person that I've become. And when Kings come on, like he brought his own story and we started connecting on being Māori men in the industry, and I shared my experiences of starting in Australia. And it was hard for me because people, when I first started, you know, people loved the idea of Stan Walker. The industry and who I work with, they wanted my voice, but they didn't want my mind, they didn't want my personality, and they definitely didn't want my culture. They just saw a product in my voice, and I had to be a bit of a gangster to ensure that I didn't lose myself. And to be honest, I did lose myself a few times, but you know, I always picked myself up and just kept going, and you know, I got stronger, got better, you know, I fell, I got back up. But the song is talking about, like, you know, knowing that you're worthy, knowing that you're good enough, and knowing your own value, and knowing you actually have to value yourself and know your purpose in order for you to be able to, like, continue in this industry. The song is about, like, how we feel, and at the end of the day, people don't really give a crap about how we feel, you know. It's just all face front. They just want you for this, and you know, people want to take, and they expect you to give, and they don't really care about the person that you are. And people just think that you know, even in your life, you outgrow a lot of people, you outgrow situations, you outgrow your old self. And people ask me, or people tell me, they're like, "Oh, you've changed," and I'm like, "Yes, I have changed. I hope you have too," because change is not something that a lot of people are used to if they've lived in the same place and done the same thing again. And that's up to them. I'm not trying to diss them, but I want to grow. I want to change. I want to be the best that I can be. I want to be outrageous. I want to be incredible, and I want to be on. And I had to believe in myself because people were telling me that I wasn't. My own friends and whānau and my comfort zones were like, "Oh, you know, I know what you're going through," but they didn't know, you know, trying to hold me at where I was, having the same conversations, the same jokes, and I was like, okay, yep, that's all good, but like, I've grown out of that, and people didn't want to see me grow. It's not, I don't think they didn't want to see me, they just couldn't understand where my head was at, and the vision that I had for my life, and the purpose for my life was greater than anybody's idea of what they thought I was going to be or who I was going to be. And so it's just navigating my life in this out of it, buzzy, intense, hard industry, and also within your family spaces and your friend spaces, that you evolve, you grow, you change. But also there's a lot of full circle moments where I've come back home and my strength and my superpowers come from places like Ruatoki, from the marae, from my nannies, and it's never forgetting not just where you come from, but who you come from, and finding the strength in that. And actually, that's where a lot of your superpowers and where your natural gifts come from, is those people, those places, but also that you're heading to somewhere so much greater. And it's trying to connect the two worlds, but it's hard when people only live in one or the other. Yeah, the song was just sharing how we felt, but also when me and Kings were told that, you know, being Māori or being like this is being less, that product can't be sold. Being Māori, being about your whānau, speaking Māori, singing in Māori, being on a horse wearing bare feet, being on the marae, that's not going to sell. But I don't really care what sells. All I care about is being authentic, being true to myself. Also, I find being on a horse and being at the marae and wearing a suit in the paddock with bare feet is more beautiful than any runway fashion or any diamonds. I find that wearing these taona that are gifted from incredible people that mean so much more, that have been carved with aroha, that have so much meaning, are way more than diamonds and pearls. I think they look better, they are better, and we have a story, a whakapapa to everything that we have, to every pattern that has been etched on my skin. This tells the story of who I come from, where I come from. That's what I find beautiful. That's my superpower, that's my identity, that's my culture, and that's who I am. And I'm many things. I'm not just one thing where, oh, you've got to be this person that's Māori. No, I'm everything. I can be everything. My tupuna did not do what they did. They fought and died for us to exist. They did all that so that we can be incredible, that we can be outrageous, and that we should dream outrageously and never have to say sorry about nothing, that we can be it all. And so that was us setting the standard that we can be these superstars or whatever. We can be these artists and live in these cities and have these flash cars and still take it back to the world. It was connecting the world that we live in, that to a lot of people it's unattainable, to the world that we come from, where our feet touches the ground and we're home. That's our tūrana waiwai, connecting these worlds and showing them that we can actually be everything. And we weren't brought up being told that, and even in the industry we're not told that. We're told to distance yourselves, remove yourself from that place, because it ain't going to get you nowhere. The amount of times I said, don't be like those Maoris, don't be too Maori. I never about those brown people, never about all those little islanders and all these little things. You're not like them. Oh, you're not like those ones. I was like, I am every bit like those ones. I'm every bit of one of those snotty-nosed hories that you look down on, that you think, oh my gosh, we need to be put in a box and say, oh, they need help. No, all those low decile people, low decile schools, they got the future All Blacks, they got the future leaders, they got the world changers at those schools that people look down on and try to feel sorry about. I'm one of those kids. My kids are going to be so much more than I will ever be. My nephews and nieces are going to be so much more, but I'm one of those kids. Taika Waititi is one of those kids. We got incredible examples of coming from nothing, but it's actually when you get older and you realize who you are, where you come from and who you come from, that it is actually everything, connecting these worlds together, because you can be everything. So this song is about that. We took the video back to Ruatoki. Me and Kings, a whānau, we're from the same marae. We come from the same tupuna, and it was a reclamation and also a reconnection for Kings to go back to Ruatoki, to Mahure Marae, to see where we come from and to see how powerful we are in our most rugged state, and to see how beautiful we are and how that's going to affect other people. And I'm just glad that I get to share that with him, share that moment with him, share the song with him. And after 50,000 changes of the song and 50,000 different production changes, verses, re-records, from when I did the song 5 years ago when I found out I had cancer in Sydney, I worked with Michael Fatkin and Vince Harder, then I brought it back to New Zealand, brought it into Kings, then we went to Matt, then we went back to Kings, and then told Vince about it, that we got all this, and it finally came together, got Devin on the track, and that's the track that is Feelings with the Bro Kings. We own.